Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're looking at Archean Chemical Industries.
Mm-hmm.
You might not know them right off the bat,
Okay.
but they're an Indian company, and they're really interesting. They're in the specialty marine chemicals market.
Right.
And we've got their Q2 FY25 financials, so
Yes.
we can really get a feel for what's going on.
Absolutely.
Now, we're going deeper than just like the headlines here.
Okay.
We've got the press release, of course, but we've
Yeah.
also pulled their financial reports, their auditors' review, cash flow statements, and the investor presentation.
Oh, wow.
So we've really got the full picture.
It is like having all the puzzle pieces.
Right.
And today we're putting them together.
Yeah.
Trying to see what image we get.
Exactly.
What's cool about this is that this is a traditionally, behind the scenes industry.
Right.
But they're really positioning themselves for this future that we're moving into.
Yeah.
With electric vehicles and renewable energy.
It's not the first thing you think of when you hear marine chemicals, right?
No, not at all.
But there's a bigger story here
For sure.
than just salt.
Absolutely.
So looking at their performance this quarter,
Yeah.
the revenue is down year on year.
Yes, it is.
It's a 15% drop
Mm-hmm.
from the same quarter last year,
Okay.
and it's about 5% lower than last quarter.
But they still managed to make a profit.
Okay.
Even with what they're calling an exceptional item.
All right, so now you've got to tell me, what is this exceptional item?
Okay, so remember Cyclone Asna
Oh, yeah.
earlier this year
Yeah.
hit the coast of India?
Yeah.
Archean's production facilities took a direct hit from that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they lost a massive amount of industrial salt stock.
Okay.
4.72 lakh metric tons.
Wow. So that's
That's a lot.
a lot of salt.
Over 470,000 metric tons, to put it.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that kind of loss
Yeah,
means some big financial hits, too.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Estimated impact is about 40 crore rupees,
Okay, and that's,
which is roughly 4.8 million US dollars.
yeah, that's not an insignificant amount of money.
No, it's not.
And I mean, even for a company their size,
Right.
that's got to be a decent chunk
It is.
of what they bring in.
It represents about 4% of their revenue from last year.
Wow. Okay, so how are they dealing with this?
So are they just taking the hit?
They filed an insurance claim.
Okay.
There's a chance they might recoup some of that 40 crore.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder,
Right.
how vulnerable are they
Yeah.
to these natural disasters?
Yeah.
You can have the best business plan in the world,
Right.
but sometimes Mother Nature has other ideas.
Exactly.
It just makes you realize how these things
Right,
really
right.
affect business.
Yeah.
Right.
Real world events
Yeah.
definitely have an impact.
Okay, so we talked about the revenue dip
Yeah.
and this exceptional item,
Mm-hmm.
but what about the rest of their financials?
Well,
Any bright spots or,
yeah, they're still profitable, which is good.
shows the resilience?
Right.
Their investor presentation has their P&L
Uh-huh.
in detail, and there's some interesting figures in there.
Okay.
They're using metrics like EBITDA.
Can you break that down a little?
Sure. Yeah.
For some of us who might not be?
Yeah. So EBITDA stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
Right.
It's a way to look at the company's operational profitability
Okay.
without the accounting stuff and one-time expenses.
So it gives you a clearer picture of their cash flow.
Exactly, just from their core operations.
So even though their revenue is down,
Yeah.
a good EBITDA means that they're still fundamentally doing well.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Means those core operations are doing well and generating cash flow.
All right. So they took a hit
Yeah.
from that cyclone, but their business is still strong.
Seems to be holding up.
Okay. Now I'm really curious about these acquisitions.
Yes.
Classic Wafer Fab and Off-Grid Energy Labs.
They're very interesting.
That sounds pretty high-tech for a marine chemicals company.
That's
Right.
Yeah, this isn't your grandpa's chemical company.
Right.
They're making bold moves into these really cutting-edge sectors.
So let's start with Classic.
Okay.
What's so special about them?
So they're focused on silicon carbide MOSFETs,
Okay.
which are becoming a key component
Yeah.
in electric vehicles and renewable energy systems.
Okay.
So these are like super efficient transistors
Right.
that can handle way higher voltages and temperatures
Okay.
compared to just traditional silicon transistors.
So they're taking this traditionally heavy industry
Right.
and they're using their expertise to make these parts
Exactly.
that are going to be important for EVs and solar panels.
Yeah, make them more powerful, make them go further.
Exactly.
And what's amazing is that this is the first investment of its kind in India.
Oh, wow.
So it gives them a real advantage in this market,
Huge.
which is just going to grow and grow.
Yeah, so they're really diving in
Head first.
to these future technologies.
Yes. And what about off-grid energy labs?
What are they doing?
So they're all about zinc bromide battery technology.
Interesting.
Yeah, which could be a real game changer in energy storage.
Okay.
Lithium-ion batteries are kind of the standard right now.
Right.
But zinc bromide offers some really cool advantages.
Okay, I'm curious.
Ye-
What are those advantages?
So they have a way longer cycle life,
Okay.
meaning they can be charged and discharged thousands more times
Oh, wow.
than lithium-ion without degrading.
So they last longer,
Much longer.
which is great for EVs and
But
solar and everything else.
Yeah, they're inherently safer
Okay.
because they don't have those flammable materials.
Okay, so that's a plus for large scale
Definitely.
energy storage.
Yeah.
It seems like Archean is making some really strategic bets
They are.
on some interesting tech.
Yeah, it could really change things.
But acquisitions alone don't guarantee success.
That's true. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's like they're not just buying into the battery market.
Right.
They're going to be a key supplier in that market.
Yeah, they're really positioning themselves well to take advantage of how this industry is going to grow.
Exactly.
And it's not just the materials, right? They have all this knowledge of specialty chemicals, which will be super helpful when they're scaling up production.
Yeah, both for classic and off-grid.
Right, so they're bringing more than just money to the table.
Exactly.
They're a real partner.
It's a real strategic partnership.
Yeah.
And they're diversifying their business,
Right.
tapping into these high-growth sectors,
Mm-hmm.
and they're using the strengths they already have.
So it's a win-win-win.
Yeah, a real trifecta.
But are there any downsides to this approach?
Well, diversification can be tricky.
Right,
You don't want to spread yourself too thin.
right. You got to be careful.
Exactly.
It really comes down to execution, making sure these new ventures
Right.
work well with the existing business.
And that they don't lose focus
Exactly.
on what they're already good at.
And then there's always outside factors.
Of course.
That can affect even the best strategy.
Yeah, the world is always changing.
Right.
The global landscape for all these industries is in constant flux.
Like with supply chains
Yeah, all those disruptions.
and all the money pouring into green tech.
Mm-hmm.
Sustainability is a big deal now.
It is.
It seems like a lot for a company to handle.
It is. But there are challenges and opportunities there.
Right.
And their investor presentation does talk about some of those risks.
Okay.
But they also emphasize, they're working on it.
Right. They want to reassure investors that they're in control.
Exactly.
They say things like proven credentials and
Responsible corporate behavior.
strong foundation for growth.
All those good things.
Right. It's like they're saying, hey, we're not worried.
Yeah, we got this.
But it's not all just talk.
No, they are addressing certain challenges.
Like what?
Like their main production facility.
Okay.
It operates on leased land.
Oh, so that could be a problem.
It's something to consider.
What happens if they can't renew that lease?
Well, they do say in the presentation that they've applied for a renewal,
Okay.
and they seem confident about it.
Okay, good.
But it's still, something to think about.
It is. It makes you a little uneasy.
Yeah.
So they're going into new areas.
Yeah.
There are some risks, but huge potential rewards.
Yeah, it's a big gamble.
So what about their competition?
Okay, so their presentation mentions
Yeah.
significant industry growth,
Which means
which implies that there are others out there.
other companies seeing these same opportunities.
Exactly.
So Archean isn't alone in this.
No, they're going to have to fight for market share.
And that's always a challenge.
It is, especially in these fast-growing sectors.
So what could give Archean an edge?
Well, their early mover advantage.
Right, they were the first in India for that silicon carbide production.
Exactly.
That's got to be a big plus.
It is, and they're also set up to benefit from the growing demand for bromine.
Right, because of those batteries.
Yeah. Exactly.
So they're in a pretty good spot.
Seems like it.
But competition is fierce.
Oh, yeah.
There's no guarantees.
It never is.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, for anyone following their story.
Okay, so we've seen how they're doing financially.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about their acquisitions,
Yes.
the risks, and the opportunities.
Yeah.
But there's another part of this
Okay.
that I think we should look at.
What's that?
How Archean is communicating with investors.
Right, their narrative.
That's what we'll look at next.
No.
I noticed in their presentation, it wasn't just numbers and facts. There were a lot of, like proven credentials, responsible corporate behavior, all that.
You picked up on that.
Yeah, it seems like.
It's about crafting a narrative.
Yeah, they're really trying to sell this idea.
Uh-huh. Especially when a company's transforming, like Archean is.
Right.
They want to show investors they're stable,
Right.
that they know where they're going.
It's like dressing up for a job interview,
Exactly.
right? You want to put your best foot forward.
You got to highlight those strengths.
Right.
Downplay any weaknesses.
But just like in an interview,
Right.
you need to have the substance to back it up.
Exactly.
And that's where those acquisitions come in.
Yes.
And this commitment to future industries.
It's not just words.
Right.
They're taking action.
But there are still risks.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Even with good intentions.
Nothing's guaranteed.
Those acquisitions might not work out.
Right.
The global market is unpredictable.
Always.
Even just renewing that land lease.
All up in the air.
These are all things that could really affect them.
For sure.
It's like
one of those adventure movies.
Yeah.
Where the heroes go on a quest.
Right.
Face all those unexpected challenges.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And that's the fun of it.
The thrill is in the journey.
Yeah.
Not just the destination.
And that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
Give you the tools to understand this stuff.
Right. To analyze this information.
Think critically.
And come to your own conclusions.
So we've looked at Archean.
Yeah.
We've seen their financial.
We've seen their strategic moves.
The risks, the opportunities.
Lots to think about.
The big question is,
what's that?
Will they succeed?
Will those bets pay off?
Yeah. Will they become a leader in these new sectors?
Who knows?
Only time will tell.
But they're definitely a company to watch.
Yeah.
Their story shows that any industry,
Right.
even ones you think are boring,
there's
always room for change.
for innovation.
Yeah.
So we've given you a glimpse
Just a taste.
of Archean's journey.
But there's so much more out there.
Keep learning.
Do your own research.
Compare them to their competitors.
Form your own opinions.
The business world is always changing.
Never a dull moment.
So stay curious, stay informed.
And maybe you'll find the next big thing.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
We'll see you next time.
For another Deep Dive.